Abundance Wala, and you're watching Abundance Show. What is abundance? Let's find it out from Michelle today, and let's find her story on abundance and how she is a wild fruit. Hello, Michelle. How are you doing?
Hello, Zafar. So happy to be here with you and all your viewers, either today or those that are going to view in later.
Yeah, this is live.
It's beautiful. Yeah, but you're
Yeah,
recording it, right? People might see it later.
yeah.
Um,
It's also recording. Yeah. So
so would
you
you
and
like,
your story. Yeah, please.
yeah, so a little bit about myself. I am currently 62 years old, so I have lived a beautiful and amazing life. I started out as a daughter of a fairly famous person in the United States. And a lot of my life was sculpted around being the person that was expected of me. In other words, don't stand out, don't get attention because, it might influence how people view or think of your father. And so there was a part of me in my life that I'd say wanted to run away from that kind of regional. It was a state in the United States, regional exposure, and get away from that so that I could be who I was meant to be. So the first time I quote ran away was when I was 19 years old. I was in college and I just went away for a vacation after the term was over and ended up in Texas, and I never went home. I literally never went home from there and have not been home. And I mean, I visited my parents and I love my parents and have an amazing relationship with them. But that was the beginning of me paving my own way or going on my own path, right? Instead of being the daughter of someone, I was me. And down there, people didn't know me. They didn't know my father. They didn't. I was allowed to be who I was meant to be. And I had a beautiful, beautiful career. I started very young in an organization, accelerated very quickly into a department head. They moved their offices from Texas to Washington, D.C. I went with them. I was at 25 the most senior staff person, meaning the person that had the most tenure with the organization. So I was a sage at 25, which I think is kind of interesting now. Um, worked there. I worked at that organization for 10 years, and I grew as a professional, as a leader, a communicator. Many things in that organization brought me further along my path of becoming. I left there and went to work for another organization. These are all nonprofit or NGO, non government organizations in the United States. And within 9 months of moving there, I was then the chief operating officer, number two to the CEO, and managing a team of 25. Many people were 50 years my senior, 40 years my senior. Um, but leading a team and really showing my leadership skills. But as with everything in my life, there became a longing and discontent. That happened, when I moved from Iowa to Texas. It was a longing and discontent. I wanted to be who I was, not the daughter of somebody. At this organization, I wanted to, I did amazing things for that organization, grew their revenue, did all of these beautiful things. But there was a part of me that knew there was something more for me. So another longing and discontent came up. What I wanted to do at that time was serve more organizations. If I kept, spending 5 years at this one, 10 years at that one, and doing all these great things, how many organizations and how many people could I really impact? And so I thought, I really need to form my own company and help many organizations. And so I did that. And I had a beautiful organization that I built from just me to about 15 people, which is not huge, but for me it was big. I had that business for 20 years, and once again, I got longing and discontent. I loved my job, I loved my clients, I loved my employees, but I knew there was something more. There's always something more, and so I uh, started communicating with someone about buying my business and transitioning into, instead of my organization being able to reach even more nonprofit organizations and help manage them. And we ended up executing that deal. I went to work with that organization. My whole company became a department or a division of their larger organization. And I was once again expanding and growing and moving into a greater reach and a greater, uh, touching more people's lives with what I do and what my team does and what that organization did. But once again, longing and discontent. Every time I reach this level of growth and satisfaction and feeling that I'm on purpose, there's always another step, right? Another thing, another something that wants to become from me. And it always shows up for me as longing and discontent. I want more. Is there more? Or discontent, I don't love this part of my life. I would love more. Um, it's the longing and discontent. It's the signals from the universe, honestly, that tell you you're meant for more or there is more for you. So whenever you get that signal of I wish I had or I want, honor that signal because signal is telling you what your next step is. It's up to you to take that step. So I took that step. I left that organization, which I still love, and most of my team still works at that organization. And I went to work for one of my former clients, again in a COO role and a CFO role. Um, but again, 4 years later, I am feeling longing and discontent. Longing and discontent. I didn't feel valued. I didn't feel appreciated. I only felt like a fraction of my skills were being used to help this organization and their members, right? And I just knew there was something more. And at one point, I said, I need to leave here. And you give your notice to your boss. I was in a senior position, so I gave 3 months notice. But within 30 days of giving that notice, I got afraid. I'm like, I don't even have a job. Every other time I've had a plan, like, what am I going to do? What's next for me? And this time I didn't have a plan and I got scared. So I went and asked for my job back. And that longing and discontent was still there, but they gave me my job back. And I thought, if I put 150% into this, it is going to be beautiful. I can make myself happy. I can make myself fulfilled, right? Just harder, push, push, push. And so I was there in about a year from the time I got that longing and discontent. I got a little bit of a health scare. I got a very serious MRSA, which is a antibiotic resistant bacteria infection in my skin. And your skin is your largest organ in your body, right? And it just kept spreading and spreading and spreading. And they originally misdiagnosed it and gave me something that actually made it worse, that ended up putting me in the emergency room. And while I'm in the emergency room and they're feeding me with these very intense antibiotic IV for hours and, kind of getting my body back to a place where it wasn't in severe distress, I started to realize that I keep moving from here to here to here to here, and it all is helping me grow and become who I am. But my greater purpose is more than what I've got. And if I'm afraid, that's a good thing. If I'm afraid, it means I'm on that edge of my next big becoming. And honestly, if I look back at all of my life, there have been periods where fear has tried to stop me, but hasn't stopped me. But at this time in my life, I had way more responsibility, way more, financial obligations. My husband was retired. I was the sole breadwinner. I had my beautiful grandchildren that I wanted to experience a greater life. And the risk or the chance or the stepping out into the unknown wasn't quite as safe as it was when I was 25 and was single, right? When you have your family and your love and all of these things that are relying on you, it's a lot easier to step out and do what you're meant to do. But when you have all of these other things that you think are your quote responsibility, it makes it a little more difficult to just step into the unknown. But I can tell you that if you get the calling, if you hear the longing, you hear the discontent, and inside you, you know there's something more for you, and you don't take the step, the universe, God, source, the infinite, whatever you call it, is not going to let you go because you've been put on this earth for a purpose, and everybody's purpose is different. In fact, no one person has exactly the same anything as anyone else. They don't have the same message. They don't have the same story. They don't have the same life experiences. They don't have the same fingerprint. Even twins, even people that are, at birth, at conception, were separated into two beings instead of one, are unique. Each and every one of us is unique. And we're put here to fulfill a purpose greater than just us, right? If it were just us, what would be the motivation in that? What would be the inspiration in that? We get inspiration by giving to others, by raising others up, right? So just know that if you have longing and discontent and you don't say yes to it the first time, the universe is going to just knock a little louder and a little louder and a little louder. And with me, that little louder was this very serious infection that ultimately took 10 weeks, or I'm sorry, 12 weeks to heal, including this trip to the emergency room, the whole thing. I mean, and you think of 3 months of your life, but I was 3 months of my life where I was exhausted. I was um, physically challenged, like being able to move freely and stuff because it had infected in my legs and all of that. So this was in many ways, I look at this as a beautiful gift that was given to me, right? The gift of, because it could have been a diagnosis of cancer, it could have been a heart attack, it could have been many other signals that the universe gave me. It chose to give me one that I could hold within myself and dig deep and heal within myself. And that's what I did. But I still realized at that point in my life, sitting on that emergency room, bed thing they put you on with all those IVs in me, that that job that I had was killing me. Not because of the hours, not because of the, not getting paid as much as I thought I was worth, or it wasn't that. It was that was not what I was meant to do. It was convenient, but it was not what I was meant to do. So that put me on a path of discovery. And that discovery started with me calling a friend and saying, "Hey, I know you went through some serious." And by the way, my husband and I had been married at that time for over 20 years. We're separated for a year. We're back together now, and it's beautiful, and there's love in our relationship, and it's just amazing. But see, longing and discontent, there's something more for me. There's something more for me. And you start looking at these circumstances and situations and conditions and saying, "Oh, if I leave my husband, I'll be happy. If I get a different job, I'll be happy. If I sell my company, I'll be happy." Those are all signals, signs, ideas, but that's our logical mind trying to make sense of everything. Instead, this time I called a friend of mine, and he had gone through a divorce, sold his business. We had many things in common, and we weren't close friends at the time. We were strong acquaintances, I would say. But I called him up and I said, "Hey, this is what I'm going through. What did you do?" And the one thing he said to me is, "If you do nothing else, you need to start meditating." I was like, I was almost 60 at that. Meditate? Really? He goes, "Oh yeah, you got to do it. You got to start meditating." And everybody's kind of heard of meditation, but I had no idea what it really, really, really would do for me. And so I started meditating, and I started out with healing meditations, guided meditations from YouTube. And they were beautiful. And I was learning how my body can heal itself. I was learning to get in touch with my inner self, my higher self, my connection to source or God or the universe. And I realized that all this time I had been talking to God, I had never been quiet enough to actually listen to what God had to say to me. And oh my God, when I started listening and getting into the stillness and just um, I know this is going to sound odd because people have started meditating, but I honestly believe in another life I must have been a yogi or something, because meditation was just a natural thing for me. Even though I'd never done it before, I could sit and meditate for 3 hours without, once the guided thing had run out, just sit there and just be, right? So meditation became a way that I explored my inner self and got more in touch with what my purpose was. But the other thing that I did with this meditation is I learned to surrender. So I am a very type A driven, I've always kind of top of my class, quickly grow and accelerate in positions, um, strong technical, technology skills and those kinds of things. Very, um, I'm not bragging. I'm saying I'm just a very driven person. But and all of that has given me great, great things in my life. And I'm not saying that being driven is not an important thing, and it's not still a big part of who I am. But when I shut off my logical mind and let my creative mind listen to where I was being guided, doors opened up for me. Things occurred that I could never have orchestrated myself. It truly is an orchestra if you sit back and pay attention to the conductor, let's say, right? And you're playing your part and you're doing your thing and you're hitting your notes when you're supposed to hit them. And beautiful things start unfolding. So that's the before. And the after is I have created many things in the last, this all occurred. I started meditating in August of 2024. I began a health journey that completely transformed my health. I released 80 pounds in the span of about 40 pounds in about 3 months, and the other 40 in about 6 months after that. So health, I feel younger than I did when I was 40, and I'm 62 in a couple of months. Um, my personal satisfaction in what I do for a living is just beyond anything I've loved almost in fact, I've loved every job I've had. There's nothing about any career or position or job, even when I was in college and waiting tables and things that you do to get by and make ends meet. I've always loved giving, being of service, creating ideas and putting them into action and forming them and shaping them. These are all things that have given me great satisfaction in my life. But the 60 years I've spent up until then and the last 18 months is like the turtle always wins the race, the slow going way or the accelerated quantum leap. It's just happening way. Right. And that's what the last almost 2 years now is. Well, it's just a little over 2 years since I started meditating and really getting in touch with what I was put on this earth to do and moving forward with that. So I know I've been giving you a monologue here, but you wanted my life story and I'm 60 years old. There's a lot there.
No, no, no. It's just not a monologue. In fact, it is so mesmerizing. It was so engaging. The life, the up and downs, and all things. These are so educational, and there's a lot. It's just this is inspirational story. Now, I like to go back to your dissatisfaction and fear. That
Yes.
you've been fearful, and you said fear is good. My
Yes. Fear is
goodness.
great.
Oh, I mean,
Celebrate.
that's what makes me curious. I mean, everybody wants to run away from fear. Nobody wants to get in any situation which is fearful, or anything which is anywhere near fear. So,
Yeah.
would you
There.
please elaborate, and I want to just deep dive
Yeah. Well,
into it.
that's a deep dive for everybody. So first of all, let me tell you that being afraid does not mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're not strong. It doesn't mean any of those things. I call fear your green growing edge. When you get to that point of yourself that you're really ready, that change is about to occur in your life, what happens, and this goes back to our evolution. So I'm gonna weave in some evolutionary biology that I've learned from Eric Edmeades, who's the founder of WildFit. Um, In our evolution as a human species, being in a tribe, being in a community meant the difference between us living or dying. Those that were in the tribe, that were in the community, that were contributing and participating within a structure or a community, we all descended from them because they're the ones that lived, the ones that were ostracized, the ones that tried to go it alone, the lone ranger, the person out there beating their own path. They didn't make it because they got eaten by the lions and the leopards and, fell off the cliff because it was dark and they didn't see where they were going. So many times when fear shows up for us, deep down inside, our reptilian brain, our amygdala is, excuse me, saying, well, don't do that. You might be ostracized. You might be kicked out of the tribe. Don't post that on social media. Don't go ask for that raise. Don't, you see what I'm saying? It's saying stay the same, get along so that you can survive. And it's deeply rooted in us. It is nothing. Yes, it can also have childhood trauma and generational trauma that could infect it. But in the end, it goes back millions of years to our evolution as a species. And those that survived, this is how they acted and reacted. The other thing that is huge is whenever change is getting ready to occur, the amygdala also kicks in. So yes, the tribe and being part of tribe, that's the big fear of being exposed or speaking your truth. That fear can rise up because you're afraid you're going to be ostracized. No one's going to like me. No one's going to accept me. But when you're looking to transform or change your direction or path, there's another part of you that remembers the path that you're on and it is familiar with it, even if the path is not serving you and it makes you miserable and doesn't provide you the financial abundance or stability or the time freedom you would love. Even then, it is a known path. And in our evolution, we knew which paths were safe to travel. We knew where the food sources were and the water sources were that were on that path. We knew where to camp when it was this season and where to camp when it was that season. And when it's raining, go here. All of these are well-worn paths. And our reptilian brain, our amygdala, it is wired to keep us on the path that is known. Because even if it's not fulfilling, even if it's not a happy path, it is a known path. And it knows you're alive today traveling that path and have traveled that path for however many years you've traveled it, whether it's 20 years, whether it's 30 years, whatever it is, you have traveled this path, it is safe. And when you start to move off that path and create a new path for yourself, a new awakening, a new becoming, a transformation, immediately your that part of you pulls up the fight, flight, freeze response, that you feel it. Your temperature goes up, you tense up, you almost become paralyzed, almost, or you turn and run the other direction because this change, it's not that it's not going to be great for you. Some people think, oh, this must mean God doesn't want me to do it or the universe doesn't want me to do it. That's not true. Every major transformation in your life requires you to go down a different path. And the universe is trying to guide you to that path and put you on that path. And it's giving you all the signals and the signs and the inspiration that you need, the podcast that you listen to, the book that you read, the billboard you pass on the way to your job that speaks to you. Those are all those signs. Those are all things that speaking to you, when you hear that spoke to me, that resonated with me, I really feel that. Pay attention to that. That is the universe giving you the ultimate sign of this is your path. This is where you're meant to go. It may not be your ultimate path, but it might be your next step. And when you start to take that step, the bigger the step is, the more in alignment it is with your life purpose, the further from the norm or the way that's always been that it is, the stronger the physical response to that change. So that's the fear. That's why you should celebrate the fear. the bigger the fear is, the closer you are to that next great leap or step or change or transformation, right? But even small fears should be honored and loved because they are I when I get fear, yes, there is the initial response, my neck heats up, my breathing gets short, and then I go, "Oh, this is just what it looks like. This is good." Like celebrate, literally, thank you. I often will say, "Thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, universe." When the fear comes, like, "Oh, amazing." So be aware of it, notice it, and then thank, be grateful for it. Thank God, thank the universe. Yes. Amazing. That means I'm doing it right. I'm moving along. And yes, it is scary. It's scary to quit your job and not have another job and know that you're paying the mortgage and the insurance and the car payments and all of those things. All of those things. Or the fear might rise up when you're in a social situation and you get a feeling that this person across the room is somebody you should talk to, but it's scary. You might be rejected. They might not like you. You might not be their type. They might not be your type. Fear, fear. And all I can say is embrace the fear. Embrace the fear. Thank the universe for the fear because it's a no kidding great sign. And then step into it. Take a step, just one step. Take the step. You will never, ever regret it, even if it doesn't work out exactly as you thought it would, or um, you maybe had a plan of how it was going to be. In the end, something good will always come of it because every step we take is part of our growth and our becoming. Something good will always come of it, either for you or for someone else. I found that it even if you quote fail, there's some opportunity or lesson or learning or growth that made you ready for what the next step was that was going to move you along. So there's no downside, honestly, just upside.
My goodness, Michelle, who are you? You're taking me to, you're taking my curiosity to another universe. I mean, it's Galaxian. I am, for the first time in my life, I am seeing someone who celebrates fear, who embraces fear, who respects fear, and who says fear is good for you, and it's bigger the fear, bigger the. I mean, would please open this world to all of us. I mean, I want to learn about this. Honestly, I am
Yeah.
so curious. I'm so curious. This is entire new world. That's what we 8 billion people are stuck there. We don't want to do
Yeah.
anything because we have fear. We are
Yeah.
not changing job. We have fear. We are not following our dream. Fear. We are not getting out of toxic relationships out of fear. Financial fears, social fears, religious fears, fear of death, fear of failure, fear of hunger, fear of this whole life. And you're enjoying that. I mean, who are you, lady? Come on. Which
Well,
planet have you come from?
which planet have I come from? Let's just say this that as I have grown in the last 18 months, I mean, the person that I am today is nothing like the person I was 2 years ago. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, in every way. And it all started with what Mary Morrissey, who's one of my spiritual teachers, calls notice what you're noticing, is just becoming aware that life is not happening to you. It's not. It's happening for you, it's happening through you, it's happening as you, but it's not happening to you. So, um, not getting the promotion, celebrate that. If you didn't get the promotion, it was because you were not meant to get that. There's something greater still. There's always something greater still. And it might be what you thought you wanted, but in the end, if you didn't get it, it's not because it's not what you wanted. It's because either you weren't ready for it, meaning you had more growth or learning or understanding. And I don't mean college, books, and degrees and all that, although those things are like amazing. I mean that you yourself, it wasn't the time for you to experience whatever it is that thing that you wanted would have allowed you to experience. Um, the fear, to me, the fear just tells me it's just an easy way to know I'm on the right path. And honestly, I don't even know what else to say. It's just an easy way. But that didn't, me telling you that's not going to necessarily make you embrace it. But I would just sit with it sometimes and say, and you can never go back and say, if I had done this or if I had done that, it doesn't, it's not relevant. Every decision we make, every step we take, it is on the path at the time we it's at the time we did it, at the time we took it, it was the right step, the right decision, the right move based on who we are and where we were on our path. Are there more direct ways to get there? Yes. There are always more direct ways to get there. But until you're connected with yourself and that higher self, that infinite source of knowing and understanding, it's difficult to recognize the good that's included in every thing that happens, right? It can be I'm not even going to say hard. Hard's the wrong word. There's really nothing hard. It's just maybe a little more rigorous. There's some words I don't like to use. I don't like to use the word hard. I don't like to word difficult, a struggle. These are all signals. Everything that you say, everything that you think, you're signaling to either your subconscious mind or the universe, I want more of this. And so if you talk about struggle, if you talk about pain, if you talk in anything other than that was then and this is now, or it's just a part of me, it's not who I am, right? You're signaling to the universe, oh, she doesn't just want to lose weight. She doesn't want to release weight. She wants it to be hard. Oh, let's help her with that. I mean, it seems silly, but it's true. We are asking for everything that we communicate. We are asking for more of that in our life. I prefer to say life is amazing because I want the world, the universe to deliver more amazing to me. Amazing. So I wanted to say one other thing, just kind of about my journey and how you don't always know how it's all going to connect. And Steve Jobs said this, you never know how all the dots are going to connect until you look back and see. But you have to trust today. And this is not exactly how he said it, but it's basically you have to trust and step forward, even in fear, and just know that they're going to all work out. So in my life, the person that I called to ask about meditation is somebody I had met probably 10 years before that, maybe 12, had been a volunteer leader, a president of a nonprofit organization that I was managing. And I met him as he came through the leadership ranks and he served his terms. He went off and did his thing, sold his business, blah, blah, blah. We lost touch, but I knew him. And at one point, we reconnected through the last position I took before I started on my own transformational journey. He ended up back there. It required him to have certain things happen in his life and certain decisions that he made that brought us back together in this place that both of us had been completely divergent from, brought back together in this place. And not only was he there to recommend meditation, which changed my life and put me on this in the meditation, exposed me to certain learnings and teachings that, I was putting out to the universe. I don't know what's next for me, but I would love you to guide me and help me know. And things started showing up. And what I did, the part that I played was I took the step. I took the step. I did the next thing. And throughout that, this is from March to August, I took many, many steps. And it was happening very quickly. Things were opening up for me. My husband and I, mended our relationship and started to rebuild it, to the place we are now where we're in love again. And we were in love before, we just had forgotten it. Right. And I get an intuition from the universe to call Steve. This is the man that introduced me to meditation. And I thought, oh yeah, the universe wants me to thank Steve because he has made such a profound impact on my life with one simple thing, which is recommending meditation. And I called, I said, "Hey, do you have time to talk next week?" We set up a time, we get on the call, and he goes, "So what's up with you?" And I'm telling him and all of the things that had happened and all of the pieces that were being put into place. And I asked him how he was doing. And again, I'm thinking, and I did. I said, "I'm so grateful. You changed my life. You exposed me to this amazing thing." And he goes, "Oh, I'm so glad I could help. It was what I felt, you know, inspired to talk to you about or to recommend to you, blah, blah, blah." And again, this is not a close personal friend at the time. It was an acquaintance that became a reacquaintance that I called because I was guided to call him. And he says, "So what is all these things that I'd done? I was enrolled in a hypnotherapy class. I was enrolled in an artificial intelligence master class. Um, I had just enrolled in a life coach certification program." He goes, "So you're going to be a hypnotist that counsels people, that coach." He didn't really understand coaching, but that coaches people. How does the AI fit into that?" And I go, "Oh, it's none of that. It's none of that. This is what it really is." I got the idea. I took the hypnotherapy class or certification. I was still in the middle of it. And it taught me about how the subconscious mind works. And that got me thinking. Then I took the AI first couple weeks of the AI course because it was a 6-month course. They were both 6-month courses. And I had just started them. And then I got the idea, with all the stuff you can do with AI, what if we could create an artificial intelligent driven meditation app that allows people to hear their own voice as the guided meditation? And the meditation is different every time they open the app because it's based on their unique um, emotions or feelings or their state at the time. So if they pull up the app and they're excited and happy, the meditation might be a visualization of what's next for you. Or if they're feeling stressed, it might be a breathing exercises and getting back into centered or whatever. That the AI tool would read their face and it would go off and determine what their state was, and it would guide them through a custom meditation, eventually delivered in their own voice. Because I don't know if you're aware of this, but your subconscious always listens to you and takes whatever you say as the truth. Always. Unfiltered. It is the only voice that the subconscious does not filter to determine if it's telling the truth or not, is your own voice. That's why affirmations are so important, but listening to others people speak them to you is not the way to go. Speaking them to yourself is where the transformation occurs. Yes, you can get it the other way, but it'll take a lot longer. You speak them to yourself and you do it consistently, your subconscious always believes you. It never questions that you're telling the truth. Never. And it adopts it as the state of being. So I am a billionaire AI entrepreneur with a highly successful meditation app. This is who I am. Has it materialized in the realm that I'm in this moment? No, but this is who I am. My body knows it. My subconscious knows it. This is who I am. So, anyways, he goes, "Oh, that's amazing. I'd really like to be part of that." I go, "That's cool. Let's be partners." I hadn't even opened an AI tool to figure out how I was going to do this yet. The idea came. I was inspired to call this guy. We became partners and we launched it in that would have been like 15 months after that. Yeah. And we didn't know how we were going to do the emotional state figuring out. Every time we we were moving forward, we were doing things, the universe revealed the next thing, the AI tool we could use to do the facial recognition, the platform we could use to do the development, the AI tool that could create the user interface, blah 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 blah. All of these things just happened, right? But throughout those things happening, I became a better person. I became a different person. I became a more connected person because throughout all of these opportunities, I would be receiving inspiration. I would either take action or I wouldn't. If I didn't take action, there was usually a fear involved, a fear of being seen and heard, a fear of being rejected, a fear of failing, all of these fears. It's kind of funny. I can look at my last 12 months and go, geez, I've been a fear conqueror. because, and every time I conquered the fear, the next thing opened up and the next thing opened up. And I was becoming the person that the universe, God, source knew I needed to be to ultimately deliver my messages and this app to the world. And I'm still becoming that. I had fear this last weekend. I overcame it. Everything. I had a fear of saying yes to this podcast. I did. I had fear. You sent me the initial outreach. I said, "Oh, that's so sweet. I don't work there anymore." And then you responded back, "Oh, I'd still love to talk to you. I love what you're doing." And there was a part of me that was afraid and I think it took me 4 days to respond to your second, "Oh, yes, I know you're not there anymore, but I still want to talk to you." And that was all fear. That was all fear. What am I going to say? What if he asks me a question? What if he really doesn't want to talk to me? I mean, what if, what if, what if? But I got to tell you, if you do it afraid, even if it doesn't turn out the way you planned it to, it will all make sense. It will all be for the greater good of yourself or others. And I would say yourself and others, because you becoming more of who you were meant to be, more of, the father, the mother, the coworker, the leader, the um, sportsman, whatever it is. It's not just for you. It's for what you're going to give to someone else in the world through your action, through your inspiration, everything that you do, whether you know it or not, is having an impact. Everything. Is it a positive impact? Is it expansive? Or is it not quite where it needs to be? Only you know, right? So I think what you're doing here is beautiful because you're making an abundance a worldwide thing. And I looked at the YouTube channel and saw that you're not just focused on financial abundance, you're focused on the abundance of humanity. And that's going to mean something different to everybody else. But that is a beautiful purpose.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Congratulations.
thank you so much, and it means the world to me, coming from such an authentic person already. And there, okay, before I move any further, first I like to ask a questions. It was a eureka moment, aha moment, when you found that affirmations work for sure, yes, but affirmations in your own voice,
Mhm.
and you cannot filter it out. I mean, others you can, but you cannot. How many experiences you had to go under I mean, you have to take how many experiences? How long did it take? And what can you just tell us the story of coming to the point and believing and then starting the experience that your own voice can your brain and yourself you cannot filter it out.
Yeah. So this isn't something I thought of. This is actually science based. And I don't know if you're familiar with Richard Bandler and neurolinguistic programming, NLP, neuro linguistic programming, hypnotherapy. A lot of the studies around how the mind works and how the mind responds to your voice versus someone else's voice, to positive versus negative. There are plethora of studies. I can't name any specific one. I'll tell you, in that period of my life, um, I was doing so much discovery of so many things because I was inspired to grow and learn more. And I'd have to go look up exactly what the studies are, but the speaking in your own voice and the fact that your voice never your think of it this way. Every word that you say, your subconscious is evaluating that based on what is going to keep you alive and keep you safe. And everything someone else says to you, it is evaluating. Is this person safe? Are they going to protect me, or are they going to hurt me? Right. It's all going on. It's evaluating in just micro, just doing it all the time. But it doesn't with you. I don't know why it works. I just know that science has proven that what you speak, it does not create a filter, that your mind actually always believes you. So science, I can go research and give you the exact things. I think I learned it specifically from hypnotherapy and learning more about neurolinguistic programming, or NLP. And Richard Bandler created that many, many years ago, and it's been practiced and is being practiced by many, many people. Um, so this is a science that I know. Then
Thank you.
knowing that people don't always speak good about themselves, people self-talk, positive self-talk has been something that psychologists, therapists, coaches, they've been talking about it for a very long time. Self-talk, positive self-talk, talking about yourself in a positive way. I'm beautiful. I'm abundant. I'm a billionaire AI entrepreneur. I'm highly successful. I'm inspirational. These are the way that you talk about yourself creates that reality in your life. It just does. I honestly, if I knew how the universe did it all and how it all worked, I don't know. Maybe I do know. Actually, well, that's what's really interesting. I do know, but there's a part of me that is not allowing that knowledge to come into my consciousness, right? We all know everything. We all have access to everything. We are all connected to one another, right? It's true. Quantum mechanics, right? I mean, we're all connected. We're all one energy. And knowing that we all know all things. I like this story. Did the Wright brothers invent flying, air transportation? Or has air transportation and the way to achieve it always been there, but no one before them had been open to the concept of air transportation? Yes, it's it's the latter. It is always the ability to fly has always been there. Nobody before the Wright brothers had been open to receiving the information on how to make it happen, because aerodynamics is aerodynamics and it's always been there. They were just open to receive it. Everything that has ever been or ever will be has always been. Are you open to receive it? Are you open to receive it? And this is the other thing I can tell you too. If you can dream it, if you can think it, if you can imagine it, it can be. In fact, it already is, because you couldn't have thought it or imagined it if it wasn't already in existence somewhere in space and time.
Oh my
It's not
goodness.
possible. Not
To,
possible.
I mean, you know what the feelings I'm having right now. It's a master class of abundance, and such a mentor you are. Wow. Before I ask something about abundance, I mean, which is the core of what I do, but I like to go back again to your story. There, yes, there were failures, but you were not taking them as failures. But you were not settling down. You were getting a job, getting, I mean, higher and higher, but you were not settling down with the even higher things
Mhm.
for that point of time. Not settling down. Do you embrace it? You love it? What's this? I mean, please open another door to us.
Yeah. So when you look at most of these periods in my life, many people would consider them very settled down. I was in the job that I got in Texas that eventually took me to Washington D.C. I was in that. I worked for that organization for 10 years. Um, that's a pretty long time for somebody that at the time I started working there was 19 years old, right? I mean, how many 19-year-olds do you know now that stay around in a job for more than a year or two, right? Um, I stayed in that job because I made, made. I grew within the organization, matched my growth. When I was growing into new levels of leadership and responsibility, I had opportunities within that organization to do it. I think what happens in our life is, if I really look back at it, when I reached the highest level of my becoming or my expansion at a place, that's when I left. And honestly, I probably could have left that job 2 or 3 years earlier. Like a new CEO came in and I learned about that person's leadership and all those kinds of things. My job title didn't change, but my growth continued because new people, new leaders in the nonprofit, boards of directors that I worked with. I met amazing people with amazing leadership skills, and I grew and I grew and I grew. At some point, I stopped growing. And when I stopped growing, within us, there is this continuous upward spiral of becoming. There is this part of us that is always seeking something more. And if the circumstance or situation that you're in is not giving you more, that's where the longing and discontent comes up. I look back at now and I see all of these things and I go, that's exactly what happened then. That's exactly what happened then. I didn't know it then. Now I know it. I can look back and evaluate and say, that was longing and discontent. I had reached as high as I was going to go, not because of my job title or because of my pay. Those could have continued to grow. But that organization had taken me to the point where I needed to expand beyond what it was capable of teaching me, of growing me, right? And I don't just mean skills. I mean who I am today is all of these different experiences and all of these different people I came in contact with and the opportunities they gave me. They created the person that I am today. And it's allowing me to do the things I'm doing today. But all of those different changes that I had. And then the next position I was at, where I started out as a director of marketing and then became the chief operating officer after 9 months, and stayed there for a total of almost 5 years. And I did amazing things for that organization, amazing things. But I learned how to manage people that were older than me, that were way more experienced, way more educated, way more many things, masters of their craft. I also learned how to work with celebrities. This was an organization that I had Bernard Shaw, Charles Kuralt, um, Stone Phillips, Dan Rather. I mean, I can't tell you how many people that I directly interacted with. I actually have a picture of me producing a award ceremony with Walter Cronkite. I'm the producer. I'm giving him stage direction. He flew in right before and he hadn't been at our rehearsals and run throughs. And so I was downloading to him what his job as the MC was going to be and how it was all going to flow and what he was going to say and, blah, blah, blah. And the teleprompter was all set up. Everything. I mean, there's me talking to the sage of newsman at the age of, I was maybe 31 at the time, 32 years old. This man is the icon of broadcast news in the United States. I was giving him stage direction. What experience? I mean, that experience created in me somebody confident, somebody, I don't know what else to say, but every little thing. So I guess I almost feel inspired to just challenge everyone listening to this. Where are you feeling longing and discontent in your life? Where do you believe there's something more? Where do you think you're stuck? Even if you don't know the answer, right this minute to that question. Sit down, give yourself the gift of asking yourself the question, do I love my life? Do I love every part of my life? And if you can answer yes to that, I celebrate you. But you're never going to be done growing, because when you're done growing, you're dying. So even if you feel that way today, be aware, because out there is something greater for you still also. It might be within the relationship, the job, the, health challenge, financial circumstances. Within those circumstances may be your next growth or your next becoming, but it also might be outside of those circumstances. And if it is outside of those and you never take the step to discover, how will you ever know what you could have become, what you could have done, who you could have helped, who you could have influenced in your life? You might be the person who opens the door for someone else to create the greatest gift for humanity, the greatest healing, the greatest technological innovation. You never know. So if you're afraid, know you're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it to serve your purpose that is going to help at least one other person, and the ripple effect of all of that. In fact, I have this beautiful I was at a training this weekend. So this is a little bag, and in this are apple seeds. And the facilitator, Mary Morrissey, gave us each an apple, asked us to reach inside and how many seeds are going to be in my apple. I guess 6. I have 5. I don't want to say I guessed. That's what I heard. I heard 6. There probably was 6. I probably ate the other one. And she had us cut it open and put the seeds in this bag. And she said, you may be able to count how many seeds are in the apple that you just cut up, but you cannot today count the seeds from every apple produced from the seeds you plant today in the world, because each of these seeds could grow into a beautiful tree that would produce an abundance of apples that would in turn produce an abundance of seeds. And those seeds will go back into the earth and produce even more and more and more and more. So I ask you, what seed are you meant to plant in this beautiful, beautiful soil we call life? And how many people are you meant to influence or help or serve just by being today?
My goodness, this you took me to another world. Honestly, it is such an amazing affirmation. I was, you know, I can't say I was meditating, but I'm trying to. My goodness, this is so powerful, so powerful. Now, what is abundance to you?
What is abundance to me? That's interesting. I can tell you abundance to me is not money.
In fact, this is my first question.
Yeah.
So this is here we are. I mean, this we are sitting together, like 1,000 miles apart, but it looks like we are in some. So what my I want to put first what I think of abundance.
I would love to know what you think of abundance.
I believe the when you need to understand about white, you need to know about the black. Even
Yes.
if the whole wall is all white, it's white, okay, but it's normal white. It's something okay. But if you put a line, black line, even thin
Mhm.
line, it defines that white.
Yes.
So okay, now what's this black? First, I mean, I'll go negative first. I believe all the problems of the world, be it any, like religious, like social, moral, whatever, these are all just because scarcity of thinking.
Mhm. I would agree with that.
Scarcity of thinking. I am scarce here. That's why I look hold the world with that glass.
Yes.
Again, what's the solution then? The solution is abundance.
Yes.
So that's what I'm trying to, I manifest abundance of health, wealth, and happiness for
Mhm.
entire globe every day.
Right.
For entire globe every day, and it's exactly like, I mean, you got the seeds, then apple seed, and you're growing into tree, and then a lot of apple, and then apple do have seeds, and look at them and look at the chain impact and trickle down effect, and that's so amazing. So to be very honest, just because I am not giving you the interview, but I'm taking this
Oh, you're
is
giving. You're giving.
yeah.
You've
but
given.
i mean but I mean, if you take my interview, then I'll go in details, but this is a small, the tunnel view of abundance. So the abundance is, it's like, if we it's health, wealth, and happiness, it's already there. We have just tuned into this. We have to tune in, as you already said about the Wright brothers, those who founded the air industry. And I mean, the perspective is amazing that you are looking from. And then you look from the perspective of, was it Wright brothers, or it was that they were ready to receive and it
Yes.
was already there. So I
Yes.
believe since the creator himself is abundant and
Yes.
he has created everything in abundance,
Yes.
look at yourself only when you're mirroring or like in front of the mirror. Look at yourself. You like a captain in the team, and there is a
Yes.
vice captain in the team. The captain is the god himself, and you are the vice captain. You are not a small species. My goodness, it's a concept of abundance. First, I mean, if you can talk about this,
Mhm.
and in itself, it's a huge universe, and we are limited to our curiosity.
Mhm.
Whosoever is unlimited, or as I said, I mean, you have taken me to the new boundaries, to the new limits of loving the fear, respecting the fear, embracing the fear, and joy. I mean, it's like celebrating the fear. My goodness, I mean, I am totally, I'll podcast you again on. There are a lot of things I can question about, and I can ask about, and I can learn about. You are a universe, and you totally. I mean, okay, now before I go for your perspective of abundance, and then abundance 360. There is 360-degree abundance.
Sure.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I, I will say that abundance itself, people think abundance, they think money. And I'm going to say right now that money is not abundance. Money is just a vehicle for us to experience the abundance of the universe. It's a vehicle. It's one vehicle. It's not the only vehicle, but it's one vehicle. Everything around abundance has to do with a destination. What would you love in your life? And once you know what you would love, abundance to me, and that's why it's different for every person. Abundance is people living and experiencing life at the vibration of love or above. Love or above. What would you love? And so for me, if I would love to have a job that takes 80 hours a week and does this and this and this, I can ask for that and I can receive that and I would receive it in abundance, right? I can take the steps, I can do those things. For me, what abundance means to me may not be the same as what abundance means to someone else. But for me right now, abundance means that there are millions of users around the world that are connecting with spirit, the universe, God, whatever you call it, in a deep and meaningful way. They're raising their vibration and they're raising the vibration of those around them. And it is making a more peaceful world for all of us just because everybody is operating at this higher level of vibration. So that to me would be abundance. World peace is abundance for me, right? Um, I believe that that's my gift to give to the world. And I believe that as a result of giving that gift to the world, I will make people through communications like this, through podcasts, through interviews, speaking engagements, through my social media, that I will make people aware of how to tap into their abundance, their purpose, their reason for being, their meaning in life, so that they can deliver their gift to the world. Because if all of us, each of us are those light beings, no one is the same. We're giving our gifts to this world at full capacity. There wouldn't be famine, war, pain. It's not possible. These are all things we've created. The universe is giving them to us because it thinks we want them because we keep asking for them. If all we wanted was love and peace and joy and beauty and happiness, that would be all we would have. And it would be amazing. But what do I need to become? Who do I need to become to be the person that can see beyond the physical and instead see the spiritual, beautiful light being in front of me and only know and recognize them as that, right? Namaste. That's all.
Okay, thank you so much. How, as you said, I mean, this is we. Who are the block? Who are the block? We block the abundance, be it health, wealth, whatever. I'm not worthy of this. I am. I don't. I don't deserve it. In all negative communication that we are communicating with ourselves, and that's be hard. I mean, today it was one of the greatest learning for that. I mean, our subconscious listens to us; they does not filter our voice. So we are talking always negative with ourselves. That's mean we are
Up
blocking
until
abundance.
now.
Yeah, I mean, and how to unblock?
Okay, well, let's start with this. And I learned this from my spiritual coach. I have several, but I have one spiritual coach recently that I'm in a one-on-one coaching relationship with. And she said to me, even saying you have a block has created the barrier. Just even saying, I have an abundance block. I had said to her, I have an abundance block. Just saying you have the block, you have created the barrier. You have separated yourself from what is already yours. We are abundant. We are abundant. We have access to infinite abundance in all areas of our life. It is around us. We are swimming in it if we choose to. If we choose to stand on the dock or on the pier and look at the ocean of abundance and not swim in it, that's our choice. Choose to be abundant, and you are abundant. It's not something that's in the future. It's something, it's hard to explain, but anything and everything that you could ever want or desire in terms of abundance or fulfillment or whatever you want to call it, it is around you, it is in you, it is it has manifested, just not in material form. It is here because if you can imagine it, the only way you can, I don't know, other than the fact that it is, so you can. It is already here, which is how you know about it. I don't, it's hard to explain it because it's so big, but I'm just telling you, you don't have an abundance block except that you say you have one. So stop saying you have one and just be abundant. Imagine whatever abundance means to you. If abundance means an abundance of a loving relationship, then imagine yourself in that loving relationship, experiencing love at that depth, at that level, in any way that would mean abundance to you in terms of love, and feel it and know it is yours. Because it is, it will, I was even being saying it's attracted to you. I like to use this analogy. It, being in the vibration, and I know people talk about this all the time, being in the vibration of what you desire is what brings it to you. But even that says it's out there, it's not right here. And I want people to think about it this way. Have you ever taken a magnet and held it over iron shavings? And the bigger the magnet and the further dispersed the iron shavings are, the longer it might take, but they will eventually start to move across the surface, across the table, right? And begin to build a little mountain toward that magnet, right? That's how it works. And the minute you remove the magnet, they fall away, but it never disperses as far as it went before. Remember, so if you take the iron shavings and they create this little mini mountain of iron shavings and it starts to look like a little mountain, and you take the magnet away, they fall, but they never go back to how dispersed they were. Next time you bring the magnet in, they're already closer. And so it doesn't take as long for them to start to create the form of whatever it is you're imagining. And you hold it and you hold it. So the opportunity for us is to know, trust, believe, surrender that this already all exists. in whatever form it means to you. And my form of abundance is not going to be your form of abundance. So, whatever abundance means to you in whatever area of your life or in all areas of life, bring that to mind. And as if it has already happened, because it has, and be in that state of vibration that will attract the law of attraction, the law of vibration, the law of resonance. Dr. Beckwith calls it. You will attract to you this in form, in the material world, as you're imagining it to be, just like the magnet attracts the iron filings and creates a physical representation of what it is you're attracting. If you want strife, if you want blocks, if you want pain, think of those and they will be attracted to you in abundance. If you want love, if you want peace, if you want, financial security and life experiences and um, a vocation that allows you to deliver your unique gifts and talents to this world, be those things. Be those things. In your soul, be those things. And they will take shape around you in form and substance. They will be attracted to you. It cannot be any other way. I don't even I can't I can't tell you how it works. I can just tell you it works. Just be.
Yeah, that's true. I understand. It's like some it's okay. Okay. In fact, there is a nuclear fusion of curiosity from that you have triggered in me, and I have lot many questions. Had I known the next commitment coming, very close by, I would have taken this 2 hours and
Oh,
hours
totally,
just
totally
sitting.
fine.
This is so amazing, and literally I'm enjoying each minute and each second of what we're talking. Honestly, this is like it's like having a mango party. It's like swimming. It's like watching a movie with your friends, and it's like having such a beautiful conversation. This is so
Yeah,
powerful.
it is a
This
very,
is for
very,
there
yeah.
is a whole new universe that needs to be unfolded, and that's the meditation. That's the whatever meditation, YouTube, yoga, meditation, or like unlearning and relearning, and
Yes.
like cleaning your brain all the way, and then rewriting whatever you want to. So that there's this has been so powerful content. What everyone needs. When I look, one is fearing fear, another is like playing with like a football. It's like let's say enjoying like a party. It's like this is absolutely a wonderful perspective of your life, and you're a celebrity already. You're not. You didn't tell about your father, and I'll have an entire whole podcast on that, and the learning from Steve Jobs and learning from then working with Bernard Shaw and that level celebrities, amazing, so powerful. Michelle, trust me, the word thank is so small for the time
Oh,
that you have given to the entire globe, the energy that you have put into the universe. Surely this universe will pay you back. The God
I
can
believe
only
it.
pay. And whatever you have put into, and what you're learning, the lifelong learning, I don't know how much you would have spent in terms of money, time, efforts, feelings, and your sacrifices, whatever. But you have given us in a plate. Amazing lady, you are. It was such a beautiful and powerful conversation, and this was, and this is the nuclear fusion of curiosity. So I'll
Well,
ask
we'll
you.
talk again, I think. I have a
Yeah,
feeling we'll talk
I,
again.
I, I think if we don't talk, we'll always be curious. Oh my goodness! I need to
Yes,
know
we
this,
are
and
now connected
so
energetically.
so
Yes.
sure. Leaving on that note, I would like you to please give a message to the globe.
My message would be listen to your longing and discontent, honor it, and do it afraid. Do
My
it
goodness,
afraid.
my goodness, my goodness! I Would you like to elaborate? I mean, do it afraid.
Say again.
Can you elaborate bit about your
Oh,
message? I mean, since
I
I
would
got
I would
low
say
IQ and the
yes.
language, this English,
What
English second one. I mean, I need
when
to.
when a part of you says, "Is this all there is? Is there something more for me?" Listen to that part of you. Explore it, because if you're asking the question, the answer is always yes. There is more for you. There is always more for you. If you're not growing, you're dying. It's the way that we are. If you're not growing, you're dying. So if you wonder, is this all there is? Is there more for me? The answer is no, it's not all there is. Yes, there is more for you. Always. That is always the answer. There is no other answer. If you ask the question, the answer is yes, there is more for me. Always. I can tell you that with 100% certainty. You are not given the question to ask if the answer is not yes, there is more for you. So, honoring that, saying, knowing that there is more for you, and knowing that you have a gift to give to this world, which we all do, and it doesn't have to be the app or the, big whatever. It can just be you showing up every day in the beautiful way you show up. That could be your gift, but it is the gift that is going to change someone's life. I know it, because every gift has the opportunity to change the life of someone else. Always. So, once you know there's more for you, once you know there's more for you, your only job is to surrender and take the step. Whatever step you can with what you have from where you are. Don't wait until you have the money, until you finish your school, until you do this, until, or I can't because. None of those things are the right answer. The right answer is only, what step can I take today? There is always one step you can take. And when you've taken that one, say, what one can I take next? You don't have to know every step. You just have to know the next step.
Wow, what a powerful message. I don't want to say any word after that. Thank you so much, Michelle. It was amazing sitting with you, and we'll keep sitting next time. Bye
I
bye.
cannot wait, Safar. Thank you for all the beautiful work you're
Sure,
doing in this
same
world.
here, same here. Thank you